Alright guys, it's Team to be on here. Um, the captain speaking, Gyze Sama. Alright, so here we go. We're gonna talk about Gear Chronicle. We don't know everything that we're gonna get, but I think we're off to a good start with the support we already have that's been released to know what we're kind of going into. So this is more of like just to see what the deck is gonna kind of be looking like in the future. But there will be a market watch in this case later, and it's gonna be for more reward and ZTB. Alt mile stuff has already skyrocketed, so there's no point of talking about that because everything already went up. Um, Maybe like everything else is kind of lackluster. I think in terms of like what I think it's gonna affect the meta wise. Again, like it's good to pick up your Regalia, your Sherrod stuff, and Alt Mal. But if you like those cards, I think are already hyped up as enough as it is to the point where if we just recently got more support, I don't think anything else is gonna go up even further. Minervas are steady now, so if you haven't got your Minervas yet, then I don't know what you're doing. Like either you're not playing Regalia at all, or you're just waiting for something else to happen. So let's get on with it to ZTB stuff. So we got to know what our new starter is, quote unquote. So it's Chronodran Z or Chronodran Z. If you're happening to watching the if you happen to watching the dub, they don't say Z, they said Z instead. So in both cases, that's what it is. So it's a new Forerunner. Bind this card face up when you ride your grade 2 or greater ZTB on your when you ride write a new card that's a grade 2 or higher ZTB. You may look at the top 5 cards of your deck and choose up to one grade 3 or one among them and put it into your hand. I see a lot of people just doing 3s. Like there's no reason to grab a 1 in this case unless you need that Strife Fodder, I guess. But the thing is, you could miss in terms of like you could miss. That's the thing, because as soon as you write it, you pay the cost, which is buying this card face up. Then you look at the top 5 cards, so you could miss. But again, I think it's a countermeasure for Winged Joker, maybe. Plus, in the bind zone, it gets the GB1 skill of choosing a card in your hand and discard it, and then you grab this card back. So any dead triggers, I guess, like a dead draw trigger, you might want to discard it just to grab this, and then use the effect again. Because notice it says placed on VC. So in terms of that, you can stride and actually get this thing off. Surprisingly. So, and I think the part is you're trying to abuse this card as much as possible to constantly get it off. Because in terms, like, if that's the case, then you're trying to basically grab your PGs as fast as you can. Because the fact that you can grab either a grade 3 or 1. So you can grab Perfect Guards, you can grab Stride Fodders, you can grab another Chrono Jet if you need to. So in hindsight, going by what I think the deck is gonna become, this is a very good card. It might we might be getting a card that's kind of like meta in a way. I feel like I don't like that's what I feel like it's gonna happen, but I'm not sure. Yeah, so pretty solid card if you can abuse it. And there's a lot of ways to you can abuse it. The fact that it's not once per turn and it's before GB, its initial effect, the first effect, is before GB. It's really strong. Next card we're going to talk about is Pulsar Transit Dragon. Transit Dragon's always been a staple. Anytime you have a Chrono Jet Vanguard. That's a grade 4. You put in soul and draw a card. Broken. This might be a card you might want to get. Being that it's a rare and demonic advent. I don't see it going away, but at the same time, if we get something bonkers, like in set 14, it might be replaced. But again, the draw power, and you get to it's a Jeffrey clone, so you put in soul, draw a card, 3 good. So don't knock it. So Pulsar Mary Block Dragon. So this is a new card that we just got released like today. Like we just learned about it today. So its initial effect is they're in the deck or drop zone. This card becomes a grade 3, or if you have a grade 3 Vanguard, this card gets +2 grade, which is basically a grade 3. So initially, this card becomes a grade 3. It's really good in that aspect because it helps out Chrono Jet Dragon Z. So, like, I'll talk about that when it comes down to it. But the second effect is whenever this card boosts, this card gets +2k for every ZTB face up until the end of battle. And then whenever the battle ends, you bind this card face up. So, again, bind it face up. It's not going to come back, but it's a ZTB, so there might be like another mechanic that we're getting later that basically would make this card really good. And again, like, you can use this in the Chrono Fang build. And it's not Chrono Jet locked, it's just ZTB kind of like support. Next off, we're going to talk about Pulsar Tamer Hegel. Really good card again. If you have a grade 4 Vanguard, you may Soul Blast 1, put this unit and another card from your drop zone, put it at the bottom, and then countercharge 1. Really good. Put stuff back into your deck. Never deck out. Very good card. The fact that it countercharges too is a good card. That makes it a good card. But this card might be taken away. I don't know where why the crit trigger isn't on Wiki yet, but the new crit trigger that we just got is gonna probably replace this. So yeah. Next card we're talking about is Steam Tamer Arca. Arca is a card that everyone who doesn't have it, like, you missed out, because this card's hella expensive right now. It's like going for like $30, I think, I believe. I don't want to check it, but yeah, it's kind of too late. But if you didn't pay attention to like about Gear Chronicle being in set 14, kind of, I don't know what kind of person you are, but you're kind of dumb. I don't want to say that really, but like, who didn't suspect maybe ZTB support. It's the hype. It's the new hype thing. So yeah, this card's like really expensive right now, but it is a reprint, and also in Try 3. So yeah. Next off, we're talking about Cruising Dragon. Cruising Dragon might be a stay in the deck, being the fact that it is a CB1, which is really inexpensive at the moment. So yeah, that's a good thing. Being the fact that whenever you have a Chrono Jet Vanguard, so it's not grade 4 locked. It's just as like, well, kinda, it's GB1. So yeah. But again, like, whenever you attack, you will get the top 3 cards. You choose one ZTB among them, put it in your hand. Your whole deck is gonna probably be ZTB at anyway. So free cards are free cards. Next off, Duplex. If it comes down to having a more control aspect, that we need to like have more control, this is the card to run. It's early game. It's you bind the top card, which again, binding random cards might be the way to go. In the future, because now the ZTB requires you to have a minimum of like a few ZTBs in your bind zone. So this card might be like really relevant now. So pick these up if you need to. Rewind Tiger again. Draw power plus like bind the card. With the kind of the cost of resting a unit, which again this card works really well with with Dran. If you happen not to use Dran, you can use this skill, rest Dran, and then draw 2, and then like later you use the effect after you're right into grade 3. If for whatever reason that if you already had everything, or like any card whatsoever, like draw power is really good, and it becomes a 10k vanilla at that point until the end of turn, which again like 10ks are really good, I guess. Early game aggression is really good. Pulsar, Spearhead, Unicorn, really good card. I expect this card among all the cards I just said in grade 2 to stay. If not Duplex, I can see this card very much so. Being I seen everyone still running the sheep, and the sheep plus this card is really broken. It's really good. Next off, yeah, the new Chrono Jet Dragon Z. Yeah. So let's talk about the first effect. You may pay the cost. So you can choose a ZTB grade 3 from your drop zone and bind it and use it as a cost of stride. Now that works really well with the new card that we just got, that being this card. So yeah, you can bind this card and get a free stride. That's basically what the card says. So yeah, and then have a free stride. But this isn't like at the start of your turn. It's whenever. It's continuous. So during your stride phase, just do it. Plus so much. Second effect is CB1 when you stride on top of this card. You may choose one of any player's rear guard, bottom it, and then search your deck for one ZTB with one grade higher than that unit that you just set back. And then you shuffle your deck. So you can choose your cards, you can choose your opponent's cards. Again, it brings it back to full circle, I want to say. The fact of like you get to control this Chrono Jet's more control based. It's so yeah. So that's really like I like it. I like the card. And it's just a low cost of like Soul Blast 1, so it's not that bad. Next off, we're talking about Drax Colossus. Being the fact that a lot of ZTB cards they don't require any heart. This card's really good. For one purpose and one purpose only. Demiurge. Demiurge might be more of a problem now because of how many good ZTB cards we just got. So it should always be in the back of your mind that ZTB was already a fun concept, being how many decks you can play, and it being Chrono Fang, Chrono Jet, and then you have Demiurge deck. So yeah, so this is the Demiurge engine. I can see a lot of people doing it as a side engine. Because if you're binding like so many cards anyway, might as well. So inherently all the ZTB strides also got a buff due to this. Gear next, of course, CB1, then you get a restand. That's pretty good. Really good. So yeah. I think it's a Gear Dragon stuff. Yeah. So like new Zed works with Gear Next. So yeah. Gear Next is a good card maybe to invest in. Gear Groovy also a good card to invest in. Yeah. I mean Gear Dragons with Axe with auto skills. Yeah. So that's a thing. Maybe if you want to like have that very aggro rush build to get to your heritage. Greer, another GG card. Yeah, so it requires a Gear Beast heart, but again, like this is like why I'm talking about Chrono Fang being a more relevant deck now because of all the bind and all that. Rebellion also another card. For obvious reasons. Next off, Mega Pulsar Altered Dragon. This card's probably gonna go up, being it is a promo, and for the basically for the free cost of just flipping anything face up, and then you bind 2 cards. It's really good. So I would recommend this card very much so. Yeah, so that's the thing. And plus, if you have 5 or more, you counter charge, so it's really good. Demiurge for obvious reasons. I might be teching in 1, depending on how fast I can get to this stage. If you use Altered and a lot of the old new stuff in Chronojet, it might be like a 2-turner. Especially if you actually use this, and it becomes a 1-turn type of field or type of situation. You might do it in time. And then Chrono Visioner, yeah, Heritage. So yeah, choose for other ZTB cards in your G zone, flip the face down. Then whenever this card goes back into the G zone, you get an additional turn, skip the right phase, and you stride this again. So the initial effects doesn't say you can do it multiple. It does not say you only can do this once. So in tandem, if you happen to have 8 other cards face up, CTB wise, you can use it again. So you can keep on getting additional turns, which inherently makes it broken, but that's a lot of setup in tandem to what the other GR is, being Fetus. So in my opinion, if you happen to last that long in ZTB, good on you. But this initial card, you're probably gonna just use it once, maybe twice, in any given like turn, or not turn. Yeah, any given turn, because you can play the heavy. I use all my G's, like all my Zodiac Time Beast cards, and then just to put them back down again and try again. That's a lot of setup, and it's only ZTBs. So, like, the initial plan would be maybe to use Groovy just to get there in time, but again, Groovy can only copy other gear, ZTBs and Gear Dragons with auto abilities. So you have to like choose specific ones with auto abilities, and it's just a really hard time to deal with that. So next off, we're gonna talk about the new G-Guard Pulsar Savior Inshu. Really good card. I like it. So CB1, when this card is placed on Guardian Circle, if the cards in your bind zone are is 1 or more, it gets plus 5k shield, and it's 5 or more plus 15. So inherently 15 is the sweet spot in terms of your bind zone. So binding 5 cards isn't really that hard in this deck. So yeah, so basically CB1 you get a 35k guard. That's pretty good in my opinion, and you can just flip this back down with Heritage. So yeah, I think that wraps up of what I want to say in Gear Chronicle. Tune in to see Lulard, and after that, the price watch I'm gonna do with Lulard, ZTB, and just anything in set 14. So yeah, tune in to that. T Neo Beyond signing out.